This is a great level. Skill saw doesn't usually give you a 200-200 stack right at the start, so you know you're in for it. This initial ambush is really nasty. You've got those evil faces blocking those exits, Mancubus is blocking the other two exits, and a couple of archviles dumped behind you. You really want to just exit as fast as you can, turn around. There's nowhere you can exit to that doesn't have other enemies, but they're not as bad as, you know, two archviles on your ass. Anyway, now things have stabilized. It's mostly just a matter of cleaning up the outlying areas right now. And collecting ammo. I really like the, what would you call it, the tile set used on this level? The sky, the textures. It's a totally different aesthetic to the rest of the WOD. This is really kind of the slow part of the level. Clearing out the stragglers and the initial stuff. You can just rush through, I guess, to the next objective, but it gets complicated if you do that. It's better just to be conservative. I mean, if you want to beat the level your first try. Kind of awkward placement, especially with the Mancubuses up on the high cliff. The real reason to get rid of these guys is so you're not in the same situation again once you are on that high cliff killing the other Mancubuses. You don't want a peanut gallery from below shooting up at you. This whole thing is one of my least favorite encounters. It's like, there's a lot of stuff, but you can just pull back to the choke point. No punishment for doing that. No reason not to. Nothing that really pressures you too much. So this fight's kind of half-baked, but there's a lot of much better ones in this level. It's a very trappy level overall. You know, the ambushes don't really have obvious triggers. They're just suddenly happening. It can feel pretty unfair the first time you hit them. You heard that clicking. That's, we passed some invisible triggers for ambushes that aren't scripted to happen yet. They'll happen once I get one of the keys. And it'll be one of the most obnoxious ambushes in the thing. It's kind of cool scripting that, like, he made it so that passing, you know, these line devs will trigger a thing, but only after other triggers have happened. Kind of cool. But yeah, the middle part of the map is just sort of clean up. I'm considering whether or not to get the Megasphere yet. It's still got quite a big stack. Guess I'll get the Plasma Rifle first. I have enough to take an Archie hit anyway, so why not? Alright, I think I'm just going to be cheeky and not get it yet either. I'm going to get the first key first. The ambush for the first key isn't such a much. Pound rockets into them, there's not much they can do. And now I better get the Megasphere. Hate those little alien bastards. So I'm focusing on these guys, but there's also mancubuses behind me, the ones up on that ledge from earlier. Fall down going back to get enough space for the rocket launcher. It's fine, it's faster going up the second time. There's actually quite a few cells on this level, so you can be pretty reckless with the plasma rifle. So this ambush is kind of cool, although I kind of declawed a little bit. You get these pain elementals and cacos here, and then coming along the ledge from the other side is demons, backed up by mancubuses, and a lot of shotgun guys to punish you if you just try to run away and rush for the triggers to the exit. If you go for a more dynamic, motion-based way to approach the fight, it's a little more interesting. But I think the quick kill on the pain elementals with the plasma rifle is the way to save the most health, which you're going to want for some of the later ambushes. So this is the switch that lets us get back to the rest of the level. So now that we have the blue key, this is kind of interesting and mean. You wouldn't ordinarily think you'll hit a sudden ambush trigger because you've been through here already, right? And it didn't trigger before. But this time it does. This is a really obnoxious one. Like, freaking alien dudes all over the place. They're like ants. They get in everywhere. It's super hard to keep from getting surrounded by them. But once again, this choke point is open and ready for you. Yeah, kind of cool that he put an ambush there. Kind of obnoxious that it relied so heavily on the troopers. The next two encounters are pretty straightforward. Ordinarily I'd use the rocket launcher on an encounter like this, but I actually want to save rocket ammo even more than I want to save cells right now. Because of the nature of the next fight. So once I get to the other side of this chasm, it'll trigger. The bridge gets blocked off by a bunch of Hill Knights, and then there's those arachnotrons in the back, which there's no cover on this ledge whatsoever. So you just sort of have to jump off. That's hurt floor down there, but there's another teleporter, so you get sort of this endless loop of jumping in and out. It's a cool fight, actually. I really like this fight. I do pretty well this time, but it's really easy to get mulched. I want to save my cells as much as I can at this point because the final ambush after this one is quite nasty. So it's just revenues from every direction. That's all it is. But it's an awkward space to fight in. And that's the last enemy. GG, level over. Good level.